If you're in another country, it's not your home. Stop expecting the comfort of home away from home. What's wrong, bro? What's that on? You know, the problem here is this. It's just like this. Go home. It's not that difficult. How again? How again first? How?
Well, it is no more news that in South Africa, if you want to get into an elective position as a politician, all you just need to do is look for a Nigerian on the street and allege that you've arrested a drug dealer or you've arrested a Nigerian that have committed an offense. And before you know it, you are elected as an official into the political space in South Africa. This trend is beginning to get out of hand, and that is why today in South Africa, any black African migrant that does not speak any of the South African languages or does not come from the southern part of South Africa is a Nigerian by default. So every crime being committed by every other black person in South Africa is purported to be committed by a Nigerian. Now, why am I saying this and what has prompted this video? Well, anyway, what has prompted this video is the trending issue about someone called George Asaba, which was alleged to be a Nigerian, you know, and his properties have been demolished in Pretoria West for not having a permit to put up those structures, and those structures have been called illegal structures, and those structures have been brought down. But like every other person, every other individual, you know, this is not a nationality thing. And when such things happen and nationality is now the narrative instead of the law itself, then it becomes worrisome. And on Monday, March 23rd, 2026, the executive mayor of Tshwane Municipality, Dr. Nossi P. Moyo, please forgive me if I did not pronounce that name very well, made a tweet, you know, at around 9:56 p.m. in the evening, where she alleged that an illegal structure in Pretoria West has been demolished and the property is owned by a Nigerian. Well, having heard that, and that had caused a lot of controversy on social media, because immediately she tweeted that the president of Action SA, Haman Mashaba, also retweeted it, and organizations like Operation Dudula, which we all know what their stands are, you know, against black foreign migrants, also amplified it. Credible news medias also ran with the narrative, like Times Live. But what is very interesting and what struck me was the fact that this person, George Asaba, was being referred to as a Nigerian. Well, I'm here to tell you and to confirm to you that George Asaba is not a Nigerian. As a journalist myself and as a community engagement strategist for the Nigerian community in South Africa, I did my investigative research to actually know who this Nigerian is that has been purported to have constructed illegal properties in Pretoria West without due documentations and approval. And my investigation led me to the fact that George Asaba is actually a Ugandan and not a Nigerian. I went through series of verification, including other businesses that was registered on his name. One of those businesses is the Friends of Paradise Motel in Sunnyside, where I went personally to ask about the nationality of George Asaba. Also, I spoke to quite a few Ugandan in South Africa within the Ugandan community to ask who this person is and if he's a Nigerian or Ugandan. And all of them did confirm to me that he's actually a Ugandan. Aside from that, it will be very, very unlikely for us as Nigerians, especially in Pretoria and within the Nigerian Association, to not have a knowledge of who this individual is as a Nigerian, especially in the space where he is and the kind of massive construction that is putting on. So, I mean, for the executive mayor of Tshwane to come out and authentically state that this individual is a Nigerian while the individual is not a Nigerian goes a long way to show that at every point, at every opportunity, some of these politicians, and South African citizens and these anti-migrant organizations have to close down on Nigerians, they would not cease to do that. But also, when credible media houses like Times Live also jumps on the narrative without due verification to spread such, it means a lot, and it just shows how deepened the hate against Nigerians and black foreign migrants in South Africa is. I mean, and I'm sure there have been many other cases like that where crimes have been committed, and the nationality of that individual that have committed that crime has been said to be Nigerians, whereas it is not the case. But like I said, it is very, very pathetic. It is painful. We know that a lot of these political organizations and anti-migrant organizations in South Africa do not actually have an agenda or manifesto, or cannot articulate what they want to offer the people to gather people's votes. So all they do is anti-foreigner sentiment. But having said that, I'm going to use this opportunity as well to call on the High Commission of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in Pretoria, and also the Consulate General of Nigeria in Johannesburg, to take up this issue and demand that the Honorable Mayor of Tshwane, Dr. Nosipo Moyo, Aman Mashaba, the president of SA, Operation Dudula, and Times Live should take down that post, and correct it, and also demand that they write an apology letter, an open apology letter to Nigerians in South Africa and Nigeria as a country, because this has a negative effect on Nigerians in South Africa, and this tends to increase the stereotype, the hatred, and also a form of fueling xenophobic attack against Nigerian business individuals and Nigerian businesses, especially those in the construction industry. When authorities and South Africans will be looking at Nigerians as people who do not respect the laws of South Africa. So it is very, very important. The High Commission and the Consulate should understand the fact that their only responsibility is not just providing Nigerians with documentation, but also to protect the name, dignity of Nigeria as a country and Nigerians in South Africa. And if things like this are left unchecked, then it is an opportunity for other people to run with such narratives when a crime is committed and the individual is not Nigerian, just because the individual is a black foreign migrant, is automatically termed as Nigerians. So it is very, very important as Nigerians, as Nigerian High Commission, Nigerian Consulate, that due steps are taken for such statement to be retracted and for an apology to be made publicly for Nigerians and Nigerians. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.